Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to take your tall tale from your slides and put it in a doc. So what I need you to do is I need you to have two tabs open if you can. I'm in my Tall Tales writing project. I'm in that slideshow that I have finished because I'm very studious and responsible. And then I also went to the writing assignment for the week of April 27th through May 1st. And I was able to access the Google document that is just called Tall Tale. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch it over to a Google Doc from the slide. So to do that, I've got my two tabs open at the top. Here is my writing project. So I'm going to just kind of mosey on down to the draft I wrote. So my draft is on multiple slides, right? It begins right here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything in my text box right here. Sometimes it's easier to grab it from the back, I think. And then we're going to do oh, for the love. We're not going to do that. We're going to use our Control C as in cat. So Control C to copy. And I'm going to click on this tab up here. I'm going to click underneath title. I think my internet's just being slow, so I'll be patient. And then our paste button is Control V as in violin. So there it is. So that was slide one, right? Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab my next slide. So if you only had one slide for your story, good for you because you're done. So we just want to grab all the slides in our draft. I noticed this one's kind of a grayish color. So before I copy it, I'm going to make it black just because it's going to bug me. There we go. And then it's Control C, copy. Yes, C for copy. And Control V for paste. Paste, V, I don't know. I think Control P is print. That's why. I don't know why they picked V though. Okay. And now I'm going to grab my final slide. This one's kind of grayish too, so go ahead and change that to black by clicking up here. Boink. And Control C. Say it with me now. Control V. Voila. Now, I'm looking at this and holy smokes, what a catastrophe, right? Everything's a different size. I don't even know if my paragraphs are correct. So we want to kind of clean that up too. Okay. So there's a couple things we're going to do to clean it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select all. So we can do edit and we can choose select all this way and then it'll select everything. Or we can do the shortcut for select all, which is Control A as in apple. So either way works. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and make your font. I know some people like 14, some people like 18, so I'm okay with either one. So choose 14 or 18. I'm going to go with 18. It's going to be big, depending on the size of your screen and all that. Then I want you to go over here. So there's these little up and down arrows with some lines next to them. And if I hover over that, it's for line spacing. So we want to click on that and we want to make our line spacing double. So we want to double space. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our name at the top of our document. And we're going to give it a title. I'm going to call mine The Tale of Gina Hanko because I am the main character. And I'm going to underline my titles by highlighting my title and hitting the underline button. Or you can do Control U. Notice that in my title, I've capitalized this T, this T. I didn't do this word because it's tiny. This G and this H, well, my name is always capitalized, but it's a title, so we should capitalize everything. A lot of times in a title, we don't capitalize the, but when the title begins with the word the, we do. Just FYI. All right, so now we're going to go down and we're going to fix our paragraphs. This might require a little bit of reading. Do you remember what we talked about for when a new paragraph happens? So when there's dialogue, every time there's a new speaker, it's a new paragraph, right? If it's the same speaker that spoke last, we don't necessarily need to make a new paragraph. The other thing that's going to determine if we have a new paragraph is like if there's a passage of time or a change in setting. We show new paragraphs by doing an indent. Well, we're always going to start our story with an indent. So I'm going to hit the tab button right here. And I'm just going to kind of skim through my story and look for where a new paragraph might need to happen, right? So let's see what it says. Now, y'all might have heard the tale of folks like Paul Bunyan or John Henry, but have you heard about the greatest hero of the California Gold Rush? I reckon you'll want to sit back and listen as I tell you the tale of Gina Hanko. So that's kind of like an intro, and then I get into the story of Gina Hanko. So I feel like this is a good spot for a paragraph. Gina was born on a small farm in Kansas. She grew up running with the horses and helping her daddy with his pumpkin business. Gina's daddy grew the biggest pumpkins y'all ever did see, and lifting them made her mighty strong. So it says by the time Gina was 18, so that is a big passage of time, right? So I think I'm going to put a paragraph there. By the time Gina was 18, she was as strong as 15 oxen and faster than the wildest stallion. But Gina was not satisfied. She dreamed of exploring the countryside and making a living on her own. So she kissed her daddy goodbye, packed a bag, and set out. During her travels, Gina ran into several interesting characters. Okay, during her travels, that seems like kind of a passage of time. One old woman introduced Gina to a secret, that is, the most comfortable underpants ever made. Why, one could just about stretch them underpants up to their nose and they snap back in place without losing an ounce of comfort. At this time, Gina heard about folks traveling to California to strike it rich finding gold. Gina decided, okay, so selling underpants, good. When she arrived in California, all right, so then she gets to California. That's a little bit of a passage of time, right? When Gina arrived in California, word of her amazing underpants started to spread through the mining camps like wildfire. Sorry, I'm listening to my son who just got out of bed. Prospectors would come from miles around to spend the money on the tidy. She's making money hand over fist, but suddenly her business dried up. They couldn't afford any more underwear. The gold was stuck in the mountains. They had to spend grueling hours with pickaxes just to dig a centimeter. So there's this problem, and then she's going to start digging. So I think I'm going to create a new paragraph there. Whoa. So sometimes that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Go back down. So when that happens, usually what happens is I hit enter there. So I'm going to actually hit backspace a couple times. So I deleted that space. Then I'm going to hit a space. Then I'm going to hit tab. No. Next thing I'm going to try is I'm just going to enter. Oh, see, that worked. It even tabbed over for me. Gina got to work. She grabbed a shovel and ran to the highest peak in the Sierra Nevada mountains. She began to dig a trench that ran all the way down to San Francisco Bay. Then she began to dig smaller ditches going out towards mining camp, blah, blah, blah. Finally, she ran back to the mountain, started her super speed, soon began to melt. The water filled the trenches and reached soon enough. They were blah, 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 blah. More importantly, they were able to buy. Okay, then it's my conclusion. That there's a story of how Gina Hanko, hero of the Gold Rush. Okay, this is probably a good, I'll show you what I did there. This is probably a good place for another paragraph. So I see this big space here, which tells me something's wrong. So I'm going to, maybe it was a different cut and paste job. So I'm going to go backspace up to here, enter. Okay. Okay, so another thing I didn't do, shame on me, is when I read my story to someone on Friday, I read it to my daughter, she gave me a couple suggestions for fixing it. So I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now, even though it's not necessarily on our list of things to do. And I'm also, I'm noticing as I'm reading it again, sometimes it's good to go back and read it again later on after taking a break because you notice stuff. I noticed that I'm not consistent with my deletion of an G at the end. So I was trying to have this like kind of accent. So I said running and I took away the G and I put this little apostrophe. But here I said helping. So I feel like in places like that, like I should be consistent, right? It should be helping. I'm going to go through and I'm going to check for those, making sure I was consistent with deleting my G's and adding apostrophes. And I'm also going to look at the suggestions Stella gave me and try to see if I can work with those. But your main goal for today is to copy and paste your slides, your draft, into a Google Doc just like this. So that's what we did. So hopefully you're able to do that. If you have trouble doing this, you can shoot me a text, shoot me an email. You can go to my office hours, or you can ask me during the morning meeting with the class and let me know that you're having trouble. And then I can definitely help you out. Okay. So again, try to watch this video and figure it out on your own first, just because life skill, right? And hopefully you're successful. But if not, no big deal. We'll figure it out.